Mobile.
Morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all the panelists here. I request everyone to please start your cameras. Good morning, everyone. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, as part of Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, is observing the International Day Against Drug Use and Illicit Trafficking through a week-long summit. We are holding this webinar today as a part of our exciting events that are being held throughout the entire week. The summit will be filled with activities, discussions, and deliberations with youth experts, academicians, government officials, and other stakeholders engaged in the work of substance use and drug demand reduction. The Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan is a flagship campaign of the ministry to address the issue of substance use and addiction in the country. The campaign aims to create a drug-sensitized India by implementing a comprehensive strategy that includes prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. I now invite Christo Raj and Deepthi, state coordinators at the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, to give us a presentation on Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan.
Thank you, Prajyotika. Good morning, everyone. I am Deepthi, PMU State Coordinator at Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Today, I am glad to run you all through the journey of Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan since its launch in 2020. As our Indian Constitution directs the state to prohibit the consumption of intoxicants and drugs, Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan is one such effort in that direction to make India a drug-free nation. To understand the extent of the problem, a national survey is first ever conducted by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, which have showed that there are over 7.3 crore plus substance users, with cannabis as the most consumed substance in India. The survey also revealed that there are over 58 lakh plus women users and 1.2 crore plus child substance users. Drug demand reduction is considered one of the effective measures to combat this issue, which primarily focuses on primary prevention through mass awareness on ill effects of substance use, treatment facilities with increased services to counseling and treatment, and social reintegration through destigmatization of substance use and substance users. A comprehensive national action plan for drug demand reduction is also designed by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, which focuses on preventive education, counseling services, awareness generation, conducting mass campaigns, reduce destigmatization and discrimination, and capacity building of service providers. Of Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan initially launched in 272 vulnerable districts in 2020, which by 15th August 2023 is successfully implementing in every district of the country. The main objectives of the Abhiyan includes awareness generation, making drug-free higher educational institutions, community outreach, accessible counseling services, capacity building of service holders, focusing on overall well-being of our adolescents and youth. A three-pronged approach is followed in the implementation of Abhiyan, where supply control is looked after by Narcotics Control Bureau, demand reduction by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and treatment facilities. The implementation of Nashamukt Bharat Abhiyan is constantly reviewed by committees at state level and district level, which often meets, discusses the progress and strategies for the effective implementation to create a real-time impact at grassroots. Since its launch, we have reached over 11 plus crore people. Yeah, master volunteers. The grassroots level impact creation achieved through our master volunteers who are from diverse backgrounds and trained in this subject by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. We have 8,000 plus master volunteers with us who are working for this cause. Christu, could you scroll? As I mentioned earlier, we have reached over 11 plus crore people under. Youth are considered instrumental in the implementation of Nashamukt Bharat Abhiyan. The activities conducted by Yuva clubs and youth clubs have made us a catalyst in the implementation of Abhiyan. We have successfully. There are over 3.5 crore youth associated with us working for this cause. It is very important. Education. It is very important to understand the role of women in the implementation strategy, where we have successfully reached over. Women slide. Women slide. Yeah. We have successfully reached over 2.33 crore women through the activities conducted by our Ajivika Didis, rallies, and Yuva Mandals. Next slide. A range of educational institutions have played a pivotal role in preventive education by forming drug-free clubs and the implementation of Navachetana modules. 3.34 lakh plus educational institutions are associated with this. A range of community programs, including Nukkad Nataks, rallies, have been conducted to create mass awareness at the locality level involving multiple stakeholders. Hotspot regions and the critical areas are identified and are given special focus, such as slums and villages, where community champions are identified who will create awareness in vernacular languages. Now I would request Kristuraj to take forward. Thank you.
Here's some glimpses from NMB interactions with NCC cadets addressed by our Honorable Defence Minister. Oath-taking ceremonies have been organized across India by state and district officials in educational institutions to encourage students to lead a drug-free life. Various religious organizations have also promoted the campaign through yoga, mass awareness, and counseling therapies. An NMBA mobile app has been launched to collect the activities from master volunteers, district and state officials. Its a unique feature is present all the real-time data of the activities. NMBA website also has a pool of all resources, expert forum, pledge and citizens corner. A 24/7 active national de-addiction helpline 14446 is a toll-free number that provides primary counseling and refer all nearest de-addiction centers. NMBA has social media handles at various platforms to update activities and upcoming events. Youth has been engaged through positive uses of social media also. Online activities are being organized such as quiz, essay competitions, panel discussions, cultural events. This program is also part of it. Panel discussions with the subject matter experts and monthly newsletters also released. Tapas is an online platform which has 12 modules on awareness, symptoms, management, and prevention. It's a free course available on our website. Mission Navachetana is a school-based program where students, parents, and teachers are trained on drug dependence and coping strategies. For all three groups, modules are available on topics such as healthy living, drugs, peer pressure, emotions, and violence. Now, coming to treatment and rehabilitation part. Under National Action Plan for Drug Demand Reduction, we had 582 grant in aid institutions and more than 3.8 lakh is the yearly reach of beneficiaries. Integrated Rehabilitation Center follow 3-day inpatient model. Addiction treatment facilities are set up at government hospitals and district de-addiction centers are comprehensive, which include all facilities at one place. De-addiction facilities provide primary screening, medical counseling and therapy, recreation and follow-up activities. Community peer-led intervention focuses on adolescents and youth to train them as peer educators, facilitating behavior change. Outreach and drop-in centers are OPD facility for screening, assessment, and referral with treatment facility. Our grant in aid institutions have been geotagged all across India. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has also talked about Nasha Mukta Bharat Abhiyan in 103rd Mann Ki Baat program. Let's hear and end with this. I request every participant to actively participate in our Nasha Mukta Bharat Abhiyan as a mass movement to achieve the drug-free India. Thank you. Please scan the QR code for updates and our website and social media handles.
Thank you, Christu and Deepthi, for briefing us. Moving on, we would like to introduce the theme of our webinar today, Leading from Margins, Role of Women in Making India Drug-Free. In recent years, substance use has emerged as a pressing social and public health issue in our country. Today, we gather not only to acknowledge this challenge, but to celebrate the pivotal role that women play in shaping our communities and families. Today, we gather to explore and celebrate the untapped potential of women in our collective efforts to combat drug use. This webinar is an attempt in that direction, and we will be breaking down the topics into the following themes for a comprehensive discussion. Women as influencers and educators in destigmatization of drug use, empowering women at the grassroots, and self-help groups as catalysts for change. We have three panelists here today with us to discuss these issues, and we warmly welcome Ms. Jacqueline, Ms. Anchila, and Ms. Kuntalika to share their views with us today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very delighted to introduce first panelist of the day, Ms. Jacqueline Ma'am from T.T. Ranganathan Clinical Research Foundation, Chennai. She is the expert in the subject of women and substance use who have been working as a senior counselor for almost 3 decades in this field. With her vast experience, she takes active part in offering counseling services and conducts training programs for employees at all levels to build drug-free workplaces. She also have presented a paper in Vienna over supervisory guidelines and have conducted training programs at France, Malaysia, Thailand. She holds a level 2 certification from International Center for Certification and Education of Additional Professionals. Here today, she'll be talking about women as influencers and educators in destigmatization of drug use. Thank you for joining us today, ma'am. Now I would like to invite you to take over and share with our audience your thoughts on the subject.
Thank you so much for your warm welcome and allowing me to be part of this panel. Thank you very much once again. Okay, the topic is very, welcoming to talk. Women as influencers and educators to destigmatize on substance abuse, the stigma that is attached or the stigma that is present today in substance abuse. When you talk about substance abuse, there is stigma and denial, both come hand in hand. So we know that we have to work against stigma basically on the disease itself, on the substance abuse. Another major factor that we have to keep in mind is when it comes to women in this issue, far more it's going to be stigmatized. So therefore, the need for working on the stigma. Yes, we are a large population. We have a large women population. What matters over here is the rate of our literacy level. How many of them are educated? How many of them can understand and take all these programs ahead? So I feel this morning that this is the challenge that is ahead of us today. I really want to give you an overview of this because women are there everywhere, women present in everywhere. They are there in our families, they are there in the neighborhood, they are there at the larger community, they are there in workplaces, and they are there all over the country. So you have women and women being successful today, women coming up the education ladder, performing well in their duties, taking up job responsibilities, running families well. Yes, these are all the changes and the progress that we have made in the nation today with all our supportive welfare programs. I'm also going to talk to you about what is it that can influence, or what are the factors that we have to keep in mind. Now, the factors that can influence women is, one is their vulnerability. The vulnerability of women to substance abuse. What kind of vulnerability? One can be that lack of knowledge, not being aware of the dangers associated with substance abuse, and sometimes what type of drug is easily available in that particular region or locality. This is something that we see today happening around us. The next important factor that we can see is the role of education and research. When we talk of role in education and research, it's very, very important for us to start talking about this right from the primary school education to what the child understands, be it a female or a male child, to what they understand. I think people who are working on the syllabus, people who are involved in policy making as far as education is concerned, should start giving them information, positivity of staying away from drug and alcohol, or positivity of staying away from substance use. If we can involve them, if that can come part of a syllabus in a moral science class or in some other session, I think that should be good. So the role of education is very, very important over here. Educators have a very, very strong role over here. What stands in the child's mind is the role of what the teacher or what the educator is trying to tell over there. Research, yes, adequate research will tell us to plan for these programs. What kind of programs do we need? What kind of programs do we need it at the primary level or at the tertiary level? Or what kind of programs do we need and who will be doing these programs? Is it going to be just a half an hour awareness, just talking about it, or should I just do it as a street play? What can I do? Can I do it in a women's college where I can ask for a poster competition or asking them to prepare a slogan? Yes, educators and researchers have a very large role to play in this field. I would also like to talk about the influence of rather than saying the influence, I would also like to talk about the influence of what kind of, say, ambassadors do we have today? What kind of ambassadors do we have? Who is talking about it? Where are these people coming from? I think if we can take people right from the top level, say a person who can influence the policy making, a person who can influence a law, if we take these people as ambassadors and use them to promote women's health, and particularly to work against the stigma, I think this program will take off well. So one such thing is working with the ambassadors who can be really influencers and educators who can work against the stigma. For example, it can be the women who are representing us in the parliament. It can be women who are representing at the state level. It can be women who are even SHG leaders, the self-help group leaders. It can be anyone. So how are these people taking up the policies? How are they making it? How are they working on it? What kind of programs are scheduled? So what is the influence of this? All this can be taken into consideration because today women coming in for treatment itself is looked down upon. For that matter, even men accessing treatment can be looked down upon. So one major thing is what is happening today is the kind of programs, and is it dropped from the center, from the top, so that it's equally handled by everyone, even at the state level. So this is something that we have to look into. Another major area of concern over here is I'm sorry. Very, very important thing over here is our success that we've had. If women can do it, I think we can work on a national program. We can take up women into these responsible work and give them this responsibility and make them work on these areas. For example, today, if I'm sitting here and in the panel, I can see there are 3 ladies. That itself is women empowerment. Fine. So good. We have women coming up with this. The founder director of the hospital is Dr. Shanti Ranganathan, who worked on this project, who worked on this mission right from 1980. Today, from the grassroots level, stigmatization was handled. Today, the issues are handled at the state level. This is a city-based hospital, but still we have taken up the program to the villages, where she has developed a module to work on a same city-based treatment at the grassroots level in a village where women are exposed to awareness. They are part of the treatment. So women who also have issues over there come in for the awareness programs and they also get the right kind of information and their help. This is the work that she has done, and this is what she has worked on: stigma, that it is a disease and we have to help them. We have to help them understand to access the right kind of help and to look at them as people who have issues in their life and they can be dealt with. So women who take up all this are people who are going to be the brand ambassadors and they will be working on it. Very, very important over here is we have, like say from the grassroots level, if you have to work against stigma, we can take the SHG leaders, the self-help group leaders. We can run programs for them. I'm sure the program that we are working on today is already doing it. But if something can be done very specifically on stigmatization and on substance abuse, that will work and last long, because these are programs that are going to work. Sorry, these are programs that are going to work on for a longer period of time. And this is what we have to work on stigma. I feel that the more we work on awareness, the more we work on education, the more we involve women in policy making, the more we involve women in the education policies, particularly in the syllabus. Yes, we can work against stigmatization, because what is lacking today is awareness. I think if you have any other questions, I can take it up. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your deep insights and enlightening discussion, ma'am. It's truly inspiring to know how women are leading the charge in reshaping the societal perceptions about substance use.
Yeah,
Ma'am, we have questions compiled for you from
Yeah.
our audience.
Yeah. I think one was talking about intersectionality.
Yes, ma'am.
Where-
I'll
yeah.
read out the question for you, then
Yeah,
we'll proceed.
please.
How does the intersectionality, such as race or socioeconomic status, influence the stigma and treatment of women with substance use disorders, especially the special challenges faced by the marginalized section of women in accessing effective treatment and support?
Yeah. If you look at the marginalized, or if you take into these, these issues, I feel that there has to be some kind of a primary help given to them. Primary treatment should be available. For example, a public health center or basically inside a small district, if you have the district level hospitals or the headquarters, which can handle simple detox or the day-to-day emergencies that women face, I think that should be fine, because immediate day-to-day medical emergencies can be handled. If they're needing a detoxification, yes. When it comes to women, yes, they will be looked down upon if they're put into general wards. At least a 2 to 3 bedded section, which can be handled just to treat women who have substance abuse. Right from the primary health centers, I think we can start working on this. And another major issue is from there, just not leaving them. When we study the population, when we know that this is what is happening around this community, I think from there, the SLCA should start working. That is the state level coordinating agency, where I'm talking from. And under us, we have the IRCAs, the integrated rehabilitation centers for addiction. We have in Tamil Nadu, we have all these centers working on addiction only. So then we should take these IRCAs to that particular site and ask them to work on awareness and take up these women as part of their treatment. If 2-3 women join at the same time, then they feel that they're not singled out and they will be actively involved in the treatment. So the question of race, lower socioeconomic status, everything will be handled. And when they go to an IRCA, which is there in their community itself, they feel safe and secure. Is that clear?
Thank
Basically,
you for your
some
deep
kind. Yeah,
No,
basically, it is some kind of primary treatment that is needed for them.
Thank you for your deep insights, ma'am. This has definitely increased our comprehension of this theme in holistic way and how important to analyze the multifaceted problems associated with it. We also have second question from our audience.
Yeah.
What kind of initiatives can be taken up to generate awareness among them and policy intervention to further destigmatize and support women with substance abuse disorders?
if I say this, it will be I'm only supporting women with substance abuse and I'm favoring treatment. I feel that to begin with, if we can have all women treatment center, it will ease out the problem. If the IRCAS can at one point at least admit only women, I think the policy should come from the Ministry of Social Justice then. That is, if they have a population around them where it is women substance abusers, yes, the IRCAS can go and work and successfully bring them into the treatment, but they will not feel singled out again. They will be part of the treatment and follow-ups can help them to maintain their sobriety. I feel that at one point, if you have at least 15 to 20 of them in a treatment program from the neighboring districts at least, this will help.
Thank you,
For
ma'am,
this,
for
we need
providing.
definite policies. We need definite policies, and this will definitely help them.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing us with the comprehensive strategies and the policy intervention required to make a substantial change in the community. Once again, we would like to thank you for your passion, expertise, and sharing experience as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would request Kasturi to take forward.
Thank you, Deepti. Moving ahead, our next panelist with us is Ms. Anchala Kumari. Ms. Anchala Kumari is a part of Jivika Samuh Adarsh Post, Samastipura, Bihar. She has 2 years experience of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan under Angana Vidyalaya. In 2016, she worked as a part of the Jivika Swayam Sahayata Samuh, and in 2018, she was involved in public school teachings with regards to free education for children coming from marginalized backgrounds. Ma'am, I request you to share your experience with us.
गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल ऑफ यू। मैं अंचला कुमारी। नशा मुक्त भारत अभियान के बारे में मैंने पहले से बहुत कुछ सुन रखा था, लेकिन कुछ दिन पहले हमारे जो ग्रुप सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप की जो मीटिंग होती है, उसमें हमारे शहर में चलने वाले समस्तीपुर शहर में चलने वाली एक मुस्कान नशा मुक्ति केंद्र है, वहाँ से हमारी संस्था में हमारे ग्रुप में एक व्यक्ति आए और उन्होंने नशे के दुष्प्रभावों के बारे में हमें बताया, और इसके साथ साथ ही उन्होंने और इसके दुष्परिणामों के बारे में भी बताया। हमारे यहाँ चूंकि सभी महिलाएं होती हैं ग्रुप में, तो उनको हर नशा के दुष्प्रभावों के बारे में पता नहीं होता है, और वो इनसे कैसे छुटकारा पाया जाए इससे भी वो अनजान होती हैं। जब नशा मुक्ति केंद्र के जो व्यक्ति आए हुए थे, उन्होंने जब इसके बारे में बताया तो सभी जीविका दीदियों के बीच में ये चर्चा शुरू हो गई। तो उसके बाद बहुत सारे ऐसे परिवार हैं जिनके साथ ऐसी मतलब घटनाएं होती रहती है नशा के कारण, वो सब इसमें जुड़ गई और उन्होंने ये पूछा, बहुत सारे प्रश्न थे उनके कि कैसे इसका निराकरण किया जाए, कैसे इसका इलाज होता है, कहाँ होता है, इन सब के बारे में उन्होंने पूछना शुरू कर दिया। क्योंकि सेल्फ ग्रुप्स जो होती है, जो उसमें महिलाएं ही होती हैं, और किसी भी नशे से पीड़ित व्यक्ति के पास जब हम जाते थे तो उनके पास या तो वो मतलब नशे के कारण गालियां देने लगते थे या फिर हाथापाई पर उतर जाते थे, और बहुत समझाने के बाद भी वो समझ नहीं पाते थे। हम चूंकि बहुत सारी महिलाएं होती थी और बहुत समझाने के बाद वे कुछ जागरूक हुए नशे के दुष्प्रभाव से बचने के लिए।
जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैम। हमारी तरफ से आपके लिए कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं। तो मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे यह है कि क्या आप हमें ऐसा कुछ उदाहरण दे सकते हैं जिससे सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स को सब्सटेंस उपयोग के खिलाफ लड़ाई में शामिल कैसे किया जा सके?
जी जरूर। हम सभी जो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स हैं, उसको अगर कुछ प्रशासनिक मदद मिले तो इससे नशीले पदार्थों के सेवन से हम सभी को जागरूक करके शिक्षित करके बचा सकते हैं।
जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैम। हम आपका जो आंसर है वो हम देखते हैं। मेरा दूसरा सवाल आपसे यह है कि आपकी क्या राय है कि सब्सटेंस उपयोग के प्रति महिलाओं के दृष्टिकोण और व्यवहार परिवार और बच्चों के लिए कितना प्रभावशाली हो सकता
देखिए, मेरा मानना है कि किसी भी परिवार की जो धुरी होती है, वो महिला ही होती है और अगर महिला शिक्षित हो, तो उस परिवार में एक नया ही परिवार बनता है। तो सबसे पहले तो महिला को शिक्षित होना ज़रूरी है और उनको नशीले पदार्थों के से होने वाले दुष्परिणामों के बारे में भी जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है। अगर वो सशक्त रहेंगी, स्वावलंबी रहेंगी, तो वो नशीले पदार्थों के सेवन से अपने परिवार और बच्चों को दूर कर रख सकती हैं।
है? बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम। Your insights have truly inspired us today, and thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights and knowledge with us. I'm sure your experiences are also pivotal for the future implementation of Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. I now invite Mr. Raj to introduce our next panelist.
Our next panelist, Ms. Kuntalika ma'am. She is currently working as an integrator, leading the nutrition and health center Pradhan, professional assistant for development action. She is also the team engagement support of Pradhan. She has 25 years of experience in promoting women's collectives, right from primary groups to intermediary and apex organizations. Her work focuses on empowering women beyond economic development, emphasizing socio-economic political transformations. She collaborates with the women's collectives on savings, credits, livelihoods, literacy, and health. Ms. Kuntalika's deep understanding of community empowerment drives her innovative projects anchored in grassroots work. She has been with Pradhan since 1999, holding positions that integrate operations across states and contribute to organizational renewal. And ma'am, I would now like to request you to share your thoughts and substantial experience with our audience, ma'am.
Thank you for having me on this panel and on this important topic. Since we are talking about, this is a very important topic in terms of when we are talking about health and nutrition. And it has a deeper impact, as you will see in my work in the rural India and that too in the remotest areas of central India tribal region. It has become an important issue. I'll just quickly highlight some of the things where the role of the self-help group, I will focus on that, and how they can address and meet the needs of it. So I'll start with a small experience that I have had. So as we have been promoting self-help group in Pradhan way back, we started in 1987 when the whole self-help group program was still not there. We had Dokra groups at that point of time, but we started with self-help groups. So when I joined Pradhan in 1998, it was a very new concept for the women. So organizing the women around savings and thrift, I would not say savings, I would say thrift and credit, and collectivizing them was one of the major work in mobilizing the women. That became an important pivot for addressing many developmental issues. One of them was all around this drug abuse. And the major substance abuse that has been used there is the local liquor, which is kind of created through a lot of chemicals, and they came to know about using of urea. So it was harming the health of the men and the women who were consuming it. So it was having a long lasting impact on their health. So it has reached a point when it has become a very critical problem in many of the villages. So this self-help groups were collectivized into village organizations and federations, as we know now also. So the village organizations in we had at Gram Panchayat level and block level was the federations. So these women decided to take this as an agenda. And very fascinatingly, these women identified That one is that we control the men in the villages from drinking, no stopping it. And they are also very keen that there were all these illegal shops which were selling this needs to be stopped. So what these women did, they mobilized and did a rally and created an awareness around it. They went and broke all those illegal liquor preparing units. Before that, what they did? They went to the block. They informed the block development officer. They went to the Thana. They informed the Thana officers who were very supportive, and they came in to provide support to them. At the same time, they went to the अबगारी दफ्तर जहां से आपको ये मिलता है परमिशन कि आपके इतने सारे जो लिकर सेलिंग हो रहा है और देसी जो शराब बिक रहा है जो कि इतना उसमें इतनी सारी अडल्ट्रेशंस मिली हुई हैं, सो उसको लेकर के वो जाकर के उन्होंने लिखित कंप्लेन किया। तो साइमल्टेनियसली इस तरह के स्टेप्स लिए और जा करके उन्होंने जहाँ पे ये बनता है वहां पे तोड़ा, दुकानों को तोड़ा, उनको वार्निंग भी दी और इनको पुलिस का भी सहयोग मिला क्योंकि इन्होंने बकायदा चिट्ठी लिखी इनको। और इसमें बहुत अच्छा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर का भी और पुलिस वालों का भी सहयोग रहा। तो ये करने के बाद उनमें एक बहुत जोश आया और फिर वो कंटिन्यू उसको काफी दिनों तक मैनेज करते रहे कि ये फिर से आए नहीं। उसके साथ साथ उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने उनके लिए आजीविका के कार्यक्रम में उनको और ज्यादा, जो लोग ज्यादा इसमें नशा पानी कर रहे थे उनको उसमें लेके आए, उनके लिए उन्होंने काम निकाला। और काम निकाला अपने खेती खलिहानों में, उन्होंने चिन्हित किया कि कौन है जिसको हम ज्यादा काम दे सकते हैं, जो इसके शिकार हैं। तो उन्होंने उस तरह से उनको चिन्हित करके भी उनको ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम दिया। और परिवार सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप लेवल पे इन्होंने नजर रखा कि फिर से ये वापस न शुरू हो जाए या इस तरह की चीजें हो। तो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप का एक बहुत बड़ा इनका जो सॉलिडेरिटी है, कुछ देर पहले हमें अंचला दीदी भी बोल रही थी कि जब महिला मंडल गठित होते हैं देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ सॉलिडेरिटी, आई थिंक दैट इज द पावर। सो दैट इज द पावर टू manage and the one the source from which this is all getting generated, because few people were making a lot of money by selling this adulterated liquor. At the same time, they also provide a kind of an emotional support to come out of that addiction, to support when somebody wants to drop the addiction and want to get engaged into active livelihood generation activities, contribute to the family. So I would say that in my experience, I have seen that if we create this as an agenda for the self-help group, which are taking into so many other, we now know that domestic violence has got kind of reduced because of these self-help groups and voluntary VOs, the village organizations and the cluster level federations, making it an agenda and taking a lot of active role. Similarly, this is one area which is yet to become such an important agenda. If it comes in a locale where the women feel very strongly about it, it becomes an agenda. But I think it could be embedded into the larger program of this women self-help group program, the National Rural Livelihood Mission program, which has collectivized these women. That would be a very good point to address this. We can also create some local women resource pool as counselors. We have paralegals who deal with domestic violence cases and create cases when they go beyond. Similarly, we can create, as I was listening to the presentation also, we have peers. Here the women could become the counselors also. I think we can become para counselors, train them through different phases and create a program for them so that they should be somebody who is very approachable by anybody, even the adolescent and the adult woman or men as well. So we identify such people and train them to become a local counselors to address and overcome this kind of substance abuse. So these are my 2-3 thoughts. We have to work one at the very source of where this is starting off. Second, alternatively livelihood options, if it comes, people get very, I would say, impactful gain employment. And third is that we have to also give them the psychological support that one needs to provide, that we can do through these counselors. So these are my few thoughts on this self-help group's role and how they can create an impact around this. Thank you.
Dhanyavad, ma'am. Ma'am, your work and experience are eye-opener for us to inspire to work for the welfare of the society. We are very clear about your agenda, and the local resource person's idea is we implemented also, ma'am. Thank you. We had a few questions for you, ma'am. First one is, how do you think peer support, community engagement, and skill building provided by self-help groups help in empowering women to resist substance use, ma'am?
I would say that the peer support is very important because this is more of a psychological dependency. It becomes a physiological dependency, and it is also psychological dependency. I think the self-help group are the peers who can support women to come out of it, and they provide a very safe space for them. It doesn't comes like this. I think there has to be some conversation to create that safe space so that the women feel confident to come, reach them, talk openly about it. So creating that safe space within the self-help group as peers is one thing. And second is that skill building is very important because, as we know, with the dwindling land holdings, it is the size of the land holding is decreasing day by day in the rural India. So in that context, the employment opportunities are also reducing. People are migrating either, and within the city, there are a lot of other attractions. So I think if we can also create employment and then build skills to have a sizable income, and they can see a future. Sometimes a hopeless future is also something that kind of pushes them into not being hopeful to leave the substance abuse. So that is where we can also create opportunities to skill building, and that can become any kind. Motor mechanics. There are a lot of irrigation pumps that goes on. Creating mechanics of that, constructions. So there are many other which can be used locally also, not going out of the village, but within the village. There are many other skills that is a requirement that could be they could be trained on that.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
add to that point what ma'am was saying? It's a very good thought about the peers being involved. Now, there are peer educators in the government-run IRCAs. So maybe these peer educators, along with the SHG group, can coordinate and work. Just one caution before we do this. At least highlight on what is to be done, what is not to be done. Need not be a training on counseling, but at least to help the women to take up these issues, like a simple thing on confidentiality, listening. If we can talk to them about these simple skills, which are basic skills in counseling, they can do a great work. Women will prove that they will do it. So just a small lead, give them a lead, give them a small, I won't even use the word training, a small little coaching on what is to be done, what is not to be done. With the help of the peer educators, yes, the SHG will do a great job. The SHG have, when we work with the SHGs, you can see that there is a mass conversion. They can take up, like what ma'am was talking about, they can even go and represent these to the government level, to any level. They can take up the work. They have the power because they're women. I strongly feel that the peer educators, along with the SHG, with a little support, will do a great job.
Thank you, Jacqueline, ma'am. And ma'am, our next question is, could you please give us a few insights on how self-help groups addresses the needs of female substance user groups coming from marginalized communities, ma'am?
See, I can only say this, that the women, I think it is what my experience I shared is the same, that women provide the female substance user group can build on or can get support from the self-help group, especially at two level, at personal level as well as the family level. At the family level also they face a lot of violence because of this, and there is a lot of load on them. I think these self-help group can create mechanisms to provide that emotional support to these substance users group. And as a collective they can take a lot of actions to actually cut the sources as well. I think we only talk about, it's not about only focusing on the person or the substance user, but it is also to focus on the I would say the source of the, from where the substance is coming, and getting into the root of that, not only talking to that. I think that's a two-way thing that has to happen, because there is a local availability, and we have seen this. The experience I shared, it actually showed a difference where the men actually, I would not say completely stopped, but there was a huge reduction, and some of them really stopped. Only occasions, because they were Santal tribes. So during the occasions and the festivals and the marriage ceremonies, they started using it, and they could see the other opportunities of engagement. And the women could do that because they were also getting the support from the administrative. No, that is very important. The illegal shops, illegal sellings, these are where there is law. Making them aware of those is also important. That this is selling to this age category is not legal. तंबाकू इस उम्र के लोगों को नहीं बेचना चाहिए. महिलाओं को इस पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, वो नहीं जानती भी. तो क्या इसके लीगल इम्प्लीकेशंस हैं, वो भी उनको अगर हम अवेयरनेस बनाते हैं, उस पर भी जानकारी देते हैं, तो ये भी एक विजिलेंट की तरह काम कर सकती है. तो हम दोनों तरफ से इसको देख सकते हैं कि सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप इसमें अच्छी एक बड़ी भूमिका निभा सकती है. और आई थिंक जैकुलिन ने भी काफी अच्छे पॉइंट्स बोले हैं इसके अराउंड में, जो पावर है महिलाओं के अंदर और उनकी सॉलिडेरिटी में और इनके संगठन के वजह से वो काफी फर्क ला सकता है.
I agree with ma'am. When demand reduction and supply reduction go hand in hand, it will be a success. What ma'am was emphasizing on the root cause, I think when we work on demand with all the administrators and correctional department, when we work on demand, yes, the awareness that we are going to spread will be more effective. And talking to them about the implications, not just on health, but even on the legal issues, will go hand in hand. So supply and demand will work together and we can see a change in the community.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, both of your inputs is very grateful inputs for us. Peer support and psychological support is very important for the overall development. And for skill building also, we had PM that scheme of our ministry, and Tapas model also have some skill development. And Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana also had the same thing. And peer educator and self-help group collaboration is very important role to play in the society, ma'am. And demand and supply reduction also, our ministry comprehensively working on that, ma'am. The supply side cutout done by the Narcotics Control Bureau, and demand side, as you already told, our Nasha Mukta Bharat Abhiyan focuses on that things, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ms. Kuntalika, ma'am, for sharing with us your ideas and examples, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in this manner.
We have, for all the panelists, we have a common question. So, ma'am, the question is, what metrics or indicators can be developed to measure the role and effect of women in the fight against substance use and prevention? So I would request each panelist.
Can I repeat that question again?
Sure, ma'am. What metrics or indicators can be developed to measure the role and effect of women in the fight against substance use and prevention?
Okay, one indicator will be to see how many of them have understood the concepts How many of them are willing to represent it, talk about it? And the third is how many of them are willing to access help? These will be the indicators for us to measure the stigma that is there against women. First of all, the understanding with which they come will be very important for us, so that it's not just understanding and staying quiet. They understand and they help others. They move out, they reach out to others. The next thing is being, confident enough, being bold enough to represent what is happening. When they know that this is not supposed to be here, they should have the confidence in them to report to the right authorities. So how many have made representations? How many have really come and accessed help? That can be one indicator. And the third is the very fact that they come in for treatment is an indicator to say that they are working against the stigma is not there, or we are working against a stigma and their readiness to take help. And the kind of voluntary work that people are willing to come up to and take to, what is their level of understanding and what is their level of involvement. These are all indicators that will help us to understand how the stigma is getting worked upon.
Thank you, ma'am. Your words are truly appreciable. This question is targeted to all the panelists. So if any words from Ms. Kuntalika and Ms. Angela would also be appreciated.
I'm not very clear about indicators. I have not thought at that level. But what I believe is that, especially in the context of when this becomes an agenda for the self-help group, so we can measure. I agree with Jacqueline that we should look at the have a progress around knowledge and awareness of the impacts, effects, and how it what are the real causes, and at the same time the different laws and those legal implications of selling, using, and all that. Also, options of how to get around de-addiction centers, the right ones. You will always find those Nasha Mukti Kendras. Those are there, which are not very kind of but knowledge about those. At the same time, I think the peer support can also be provided in having a regular tracking with those substance abusers, so that how many the reducing number is there or not, consumption reduction is there or not, like we do it in nutrition, that how much balanced diet one has had. We have FCS score, we have BMIs to measure. So I think, and the women follow through asking that, okay, what is it all you had? A 24-hour recall kind of a things that we do. So similarly, we can do something at that level. तो उस स्तर पे भी एक जो है दो चीज करेगा, डेटा आए सही नहीं आए वो सब का एक तो सवाल जो भी है, बट एट द सेम टाइम घर का कोई ना कोई सदस्य तो सही इंफॉर्मेशन देता है, नंबर वन. दूसरा है कि ये ना एक अपने आप में पुश देने के लिए भी है, और ये जब हमेशा रेगुलरली जब मॉनिटर होता है तो ये भी एक ज्यादा अपने आप को दिमाग में ये अवेयर करता है कि ये गलत चीज कर रही हूँ या कर रहा हूँ, इसको मुझे छोड़ना है, मुझे इससे निकल के आना है. तो एक पुश भी मिलता है, एक मोटिवेशन भी मिलता है. तो एक कम्युनिटी लेवल का इंडिकेटर मेट्रिक्स अगर हम लोग निकाल पाते हैं, जो महिलाएं खुद कर पाए, जो कम लिखी पढ़ी महिलाएं हैं वो भी उस टूल को यूज कर सके, उसमें चिन्हित कर सके, वो शायद काफी फायदेमंद हो सकता है. दैट इज ऑल.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैम, Jacqueline ma'am and Kuntalika ma'am. Your suggestions will definitely be put into action. We have now come to the end of the webinar, and I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our panelists present here. We thank you all for your valuable time, and we would also like to extend our thanks to the audiences and hope you found this webinar insightful and took away some quick learnings from it. We have many more events for you to look forward to under our International Day Against Drug Use and Illicit Trafficking through a week-long summit. Don't forget to follow us on our social media and participate in our exciting events. Lastly, I request everyone to smile for a quick photograph that we are going to take. Thank you so much to all our panelists here, and I hope you have a very good day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day to everyone.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.